The 80-20 rule posits that
80% of the effects come from a
using Pareto's 80-20
80-20 rule. Welcome to Business Model Hackers, the podcast where we decode the strategies and tools for successful business management. Now, you should know Sam Schreim left a lucrative career to pursue entrepreneurship, and part of that process is the show you're listening to today. We're going to be diving into the 80-20 rule and how that's reshaping business as we operate in this fast-moving world. He's advised executives from Fortune 500 companies to startups and entrepreneurs. He's also worked with large and medium organizations, advising governments and nonprofits on matters of strategy and general management. All right, let's hack into today's topic. Sam, we're here for another one, the 80-20 rule.
Hey.
How you feel about that?
Hey, oh, great. That's an excellent topic, I think. One of the rules that I use the most on a daily basis for everything, not just business. Anything I do is always 80-20. And I guess we'll get into that and how, in this episode. I mean, whether you're a business owner or you're an executive or a manager, whatever you do in your life, looking at 80-20 as a rule of thumb is, I think, life-changing for most of us, really, if you understand the concept and the idea behind it.
Now, for those who are unfamiliar with the idea of 80-20 rule, what is it and why is it useful for business?
Yeah, I mean, the 80-20 rule is ultra important, specifically in the context of today. And I would say, to sum it up, right, 2 words, it's about our world, which is in our day today, we're bombarded with like so many things across the board, from information overload to problem overload, to things you gotta do and you gotta handle and cram in your day, whether at work or not at work. So given that you have all these things, right, you need to prioritize. So the 80-20 rule has a history to it, an interesting history, and was invented by Wilfredo Pareto, who's an engineer, architect, and Italian agriculture. Wilfredo, he was harvesting peas in his garden, and he found that some of his pea pods accounted for a large portion of the peas that he was able to harvest. When he did the math, he found out that around 20%, or 1 in 5, accounted for 80% of the total harvest. And then, given that he's a scientist, he went on and did a lot of research and applied that rule to things like land. And he found out that land ownership, for example, is owned by 20% of people, that 20% of the wealthy accounted for 80% of the wealth in Italy. And a lot of this rule was almost universal. Of course, it's not exactly 80-20, but the idea is a very small percentage of causes accounts for 80% of outcome. That's the general rule of 80-20. That's the fundamental principle of how 80-20 works.